Hi everyone, this is Crystal at the Fit Factor Studio. I am so happy for tonight. We're going to be talking about how to step up to the edge. Just quickly, thank you everyone for following us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. It's hashtag at the Fit Factor Studio. Okay, so we're going to get straight into it tonight. I have a couple things that I wanted to go over because last time we were talking about meditation. So before we get into this, we're going to just do a quick meditation. So I want you to feel really grounded here. So as you inhale, if you guys are live out there and following us, take a deep inhale with me. Stay grounded. Exhale. Let something go. One more inhale, just like that. Inhale. Imagine like cooling water going up and rising up like the ocean through your body. And then as you go up, imagine that you can just grab all your problems, all the worries, clasp them in your hand, and then throw it behind us, okay? So one last inhale. Really to ground, and then exhale. Good, okay. So we're ready to get started. We're grounded. I have a series called the 8 Principles for Stepping Up to the Edge. And I'm a yoga teacher, and I'd like to go over the principle, the first principle, which is either you're here or you're nowhere. And you're like, okay, what does that mean, right? And a lot of people, especially when they're focused, doing something like yoga and you're holding a lot of these postures for a long, long time, sometimes what happens is like your mind starts to wander, and that's the surest way to actually get hurt. And some of you are like, well, I don't really do yoga, but let me tell you, these principles actually apply to real life. Because let's say you're driving, right? And you're not being present. The likelihood of you actually getting into an accident, it increases significantly, okay? So the way you show up on your mat is the way you show up in life, okay? So this principle is that pretty much when your mind starts to drift, okay? Let's say you're like, okay, I'm in yoga, I want to be present. You're like breathing, but then you're like, all these things come up in your head, like, man, I have to go grocery shopping, or man, I have to pay that bill, or like whatever comes on for you. I'm going to keep this really practical for you guys, okay? So pretty much when your mind starts going, into the past, okay? The past actually doesn't exist. Even though we have great memories and nostalgia and all these good feelings from the past, that is not reality. And then when our mind starts drifting into the future, that's actually something that's more of a fantasy too. So any moment your mind, there's no wrong thing with daydreaming or visualization, but for the purpose of this video, I want you to just take a moment to just distinguish the difference between your mind drifting into the past, your mind drifting into the future versus being here and now in the present. So again, recapping the principle is that you're either here or you're nowhere. And I'm taking these principles from the book called Journey into Power by Baron Baptiste. He is the founder of the Baptiste Foundation, and he does these 90-day transformations. So it's amazing that he summarized pretty much all the principles that lead to transformation, okay? And why yoga is so powerful. So, let's just, break this down, okay? Because there is a couple things that go into this. There is a reason why being present is so important, because I know all of us, we're here at the Fit Factor Studio or wherever you are, you're like, man, I really want to focus on awareness this year, okay? But your mind, it's really difficult for you to really focus on the process. That you're just like, okay, this is my goal and this is what I want to do. I want to hit 60 classes in the next 2 months or whatever it is. I want abs. Like you have this idea of what you want to accomplish. But in terms of the universal principle of being present, the most amazing thing about this is that when you're in the process, you're being present, you're taking, every moment in at a time, that you actually start making small shifts. Okay, so you start making small shifts, and pretty much, you become present in this moment, you make a tiny shift, and then the next, and then the next, and then before you know it, pretty much you've moved a mountain. So do you see how, even though a moment in time is like this small, every time that you take pretty much any time in your day that you take the time to actually celebrate, like, hey, I really wanted to eat those hot Cheetos, but I didn't. This is just a small, example. But whatever it is, it's like, man, I really wanted to do this, or I really wanted to get upset, okay? At my boyfriend, or whatever it is. I wanted to just lash out, but I didn't. That's a moment for celebration. That's a moment where you can really see progress happen, is that you're present, you're aware of the feeling, and then you're able to just breathe, be present, and then react, and not react in a way that would actually, draw you away from your goal, but towards your goals, okay? So pretty much, I really want to just celebrate the power of just being present. And, I know in the beginning we went through like a quick meditation on how to be present. And especially in yoga, we do this like all 50 minutes, is that, especially when, you're in like vinyasa, for example, where you're flowing and you're moving from one pose to another pose, you might hear the teacher cue, breathe, okay? And that's actually the anchoring principle of being present, is sometimes we just need to be in our bodies. I've been in power teacher training this, past couple weeks. I just started my first week, and one of the teachers, DeAndre, said, the purpose of life is not to just feel good, but to feel. So keeping this super simple, I don't want to get too detailed. Bottom line, the principle to stay present, to stay anchored, is to really ground down in your breath. Okay? And that is the anchoring principle. When your mind starts to wander, you're going in the past, you're going in the future. That's the anchoring principle on how to get you from nowhere to now. Okay? So just, take a moment with me. Let's take a deep breath in. And honestly, this is super simple. As you breathe in, sometimes I imagine like cooling water coming up. And then as I exhale, I imagine like all my problems just leaving my body. Essentially, I like to visualize. This might be a weird visualization, but pretty much like fire, just coming down through the crown of my head, exhaling all that out. And pretty much this is, the first thing that you can do whenever you feel, anxious, whenever you feel overwhelmed, whenever you feel stressed. This is the fastest way. I want to say like in 10 seconds. You can just bring, your awareness back into your body, back into your own breath. And this is step one to how we can really step up to the edge. So stay tuned. This is actually the first series on how to step up to the edge. So I have 7 more principles that I can't wait to share with you guys. Again, my name is Crystal, and it was so awesome being with all of you guys tonight. Have a good night. Bye.